So today we're going to talk about hooking a truck to a trailer. This might seem easy for most people, but believe me, it has many safety implications also. So we have the truck. It's going to engage into the trailer. First and foremost, make absolutely sure you understand what size ball the trailer requires. For economy garages here, we try to keep consistency. So all of our trailers are based on a 2 5/16 ball for consistency. But if you have a boat trailer at home, if you have small trailers, maybe lawn equipment, something like that, you might find that it's anything down from a 1 7/8 or a 2-inch ball. But we here use 2 5/16. So that's the first thing you check. Now, as we come back into the trailer, it's nice to have help. Now, some of the brand new trucks nowadays have cameras out there and they can definitely aid in that, but utilize a second person. That second person is going to stand safely in front of the trailer, but behind the tongue. In case the truck gets away from you, they hit the tongue, not the person. That is a very key point. And make also sure that the person that is directing can be seen in the mirror on the driver's side is typically the best way, because the mirror on the other side, many of them are convex mirrors and people look smaller. So in this particular case, this makes absolutely sure that the person giving the signals is seen in the driver's mirror. Okay, now that the ball is underneath the tongue in the proper location, the trailer gets lowered onto it. Now, there's many different kinds of tongues I'll talk about in just a second here, but for the most part, you want to get the weight of that trailer down on the tongue. Okay, now we have the trailer down onto the ball. We got to finish hooking this up. So, one thing we need to do is secure the trailer to the ball. And now there's many different kinds of these. This particular one, This particular one has a pin that slides through it, and that's what locks the ball on. And then it has a key that slides through the hole so it can't come back out. That's how actually you lock this particular one on. Now, once that's locked on, it's easy to get the landing gear up. So we're gonna crank this all the way up real quick. We already have the weight off of it, so it comes up quite easily. Okay, and when it's all the way up, do not forget that most landing gear has a spring-loaded bottom foot. So you don't have to crank it all the way down. You can make up some of it by simply stepping on it. We have to do just the opposite. So we gotta step on this bottom plate so we can release it, and then the foot comes up. Okay, and then it travels like that. So that clears the foot so that nothing's dragging behind. Now the other pieces that we have to hook up, safety chains. Now, every receiver has extra holes or areas or slots for safety chains. We hook up safety chains, and a real good element to get used to doing is crossing the safety chains. So you can see how the safety chain that I have in my hand actually comes from the other side of the trailer. So it's good to cross the safety chains, because if this thing ever let loose, that little cross helps control the trailer a little bit. Okay? The other thing you want to make absolutely sure is they're not hanging so far down that you're dragging them down the road and wearing out your safety chains. So make sure that you have it high enough. A trick here, if it's dragging too low, put a couple of twists in the chain. Put a couple of twists in the chain, and now I've already lifted it 1 inch just by spinning the chain a little bit. So if you have one dragging, spin the chain. It doesn't do any damage or harm to the operation of the chain if you need it. So safety chains are hooked up. We're secured onto the trailer. What's next? This particular piece here is for the emergency breakaway brakes. Now, every trailer of size has brakes on the trailer, and this is the emergency part. Now, I want to talk about this particular breakaway piece in more detail here because a lot of people don't understand how it works. This particular cable is hooked to a switch, a box. But when this falls away from the truck, this particular piece has to be hooked to the truck in a separate location. It has to be directly hooked. You cannot hook this safety or this braking cable. You cannot hook it to the chain. You cannot hook it to the same hooks because it has to be a separate run to the truck. Because what if the hook failed? If the hook failed, this cable is never going to be pulled and set off the brakes to the trailer, right? So I hook it, me personally, I hook it through my bumper and hook it back on itself so it will pull. The last thing that I do is I put the plug in. We at Economy Garages have 7-blade flat, also known as RB plugs. This is the method we use. Make sure you pay attention. Your plug has a raised piece on the top here. It goes into the slot. Now, the cover of these particular plugs has a build down that actually gets behind the edge of this so it holds it. So if I held the cover up and I push it in, I can easily pull it back out. But if you push it in and drop the cover, that cover locks in behind it. You cannot pull this out. Designed that way with a spring-loaded cover. Okay, so now we got everything hooked up. We got it hooked down and latched. We have our safety chains on. We have a breakaway brake system on, and we have our cable. This cable has all of the lighting for the trailer and also the braking of the trailer. So everything is hooked up. Landing gear is clear, so we're all set, ready to go.
Good. Left, right, hazard, great. Turn your marker lights on.
Okay, what you've just seen is how it should be used, or how it can be used, to make sure all the lights work through the braking, through the turn signals, through the marker lights, all the way through. We want to make sure that people can see us when we are on the road and they know what we are going to do. Now, the very last thing we're going to do is a testing of the brakes. That's using the controller inside the truck to operate only the trailer brakes. By DOT standards, that trailer must be able to hold and stop the truck. It just has to hold it. It doesn't have to come to any kind of a screeching halt, but it has to hold the truck from rolling. So what you typically do is you roll forward, you operate the handbrake inside the truck, and if you have it set all the way up, you should be able to, it's called a drag test, you should be able to drag the trailer, mostly on gravel, and make sure it holds the truck. So that's what I'm going to do right now. Okay, what we have just seen is that it passed my test inside the truck. You can see from the trailer or truck lights that my brakes were not on the truck, but I was able to drag the trailer tires because that link is working properly.